Arsenal gazumped them to make Eberechi Eze their latest big money signing. And it was a low-key introduction at his new home. The England forward joins from Crystal Palace in a deal worth 60.
How we wanted to start the first game at home in the league, start to create that confidence, that feeling of domination at home. The atmosphere was electric from the beginning.
Last season, there were too many games where you couldn't play Odegaard and Saka, and both have picked up injuries today.
Yes, we already missed Kai this week, or last week, and then those two. With Martin, looks like a shoulder injury. We don't know the extent of that. And Bukayo, while he was running and wrestling with the defender, he felt something in his hamstring. So we'll have to wait and see, but quite concerned about that, yeah.
People often talk about the difference between the Championship and the Premier League being maybe the quality of the finishing, and they scored from every shot on target they had today.
Yes, sums it up as well. I can't really remember many saves of Lucas Perry today. So five shots on target, 5 goals. Of course, we're disappointed with the outcome that we don't travel away with points or a tighter result. But we knew that these things can happen if you want to play on the top level. And this is not a season-defining game for us.
Many highlights. Victor scoring his first 2 goals for the club. Jurian, after a long-term injury, scoring 2 goals. Mosca having his debut for the club. And of course, probably one of the highlights of the day, the debut of Max as 15, and then the impact that he had on the game as well. So in general, a super positive afternoon, except of the 2 injuries that we picked with Martin and Bukayo.
Well, let's start with Gyökeres first, because you more than anyone, Alan, will know how important it is for him to open his account to get those first 2 goals. But are there also signs that this is a developing relationship?
Yeah, and understandably so. There were some good signs, but there's also that it still needs working on. And you get that because he's still getting used to his teammates. His teammates are still getting used to him. You can't not ask Bukayo Saka not to go past players because he's brilliant at it. But once you get into that position, when you've got a forward who's used to having balls into the box, sometimes the ball has to go in rather than back. But they've been playing that way for such a long time now. It is going to take time, there's no doubt. He just gets his position all wrong. He should take a touch with the left foot, and then he'll have a simple tap in. He just snatches at it for some reason. But also, again, Calafiori here, I think if he makes a run in between the 2 defenders there, and I think that's what Calafiori needs, is that option to do that. He doesn't. OK, that will come also. Then nothing comes of that situation again. And Zubimendi here, once he gets the ball back, look, he's looking for an option. I think he can ping that ball into him there, because he can pin the defender and then spin to his left-hand side and have a pop at goal. And you can see the reaction of Zubimendi, because he's putting his arms up and wanting options. This time from the left-hand side, Madueke, that ball can go in. When you've got a forward who wants balls into the box, you've sometimes got to do it. He takes a touch, another touch, and another touch, and eventually look what happens. No ball into the box. You sometimes have to do that. Centre forwards need to be fed, and he's a goal scorer. Now, 90 seconds in to the second half, I'm sure the manager said something at half-time, Arteta. First-time balls, when you've got someone who can run like he can and you play a high line, you have to play sometimes an early ball. And he's off and running, he gets his goal, all because of that first-time ball and that running behind. Great to see him step up and take the penalty with such confidence. But it is going to take time for him to understand, and for the players also he's playing with to know when and how to put the ball in for him, because they haven't always done that in recent years.
And you'd imagine that weighs quite heavily in terms of his numbers for the game, that second half performance.
I know what it's like for a centre forward. You're desperate to get off to a good start. So for him, it not quite happening for him last week, but getting actually 2 goals today, he'll sleep a lot better tonight, that's for sure.
Just a quick question. Can you try too hard at times as a forward? And then the basic things that normally come to you, you're trying to outsort.
Yeah, because you want to impress when people are talking about you. The transfer fee's huge. Everyone knows what Arsenal have needed for such a long time. There's pressure on him, so yeah, you can do that. But there's certainly signs there, but they have to get used to each other, and it might take time.
We asked Alan about the striker, so we've got to ask you about the 15-year-old who burst onto the scene.
Okay.
Micah, in Max Downman.
15 years of age. Wow. What a Premier League debut. He scored and assisted, but just how positive he was. For someone who's at 15 to be doing this sort of thing and having the confidence just to take on a really good fullback in Goodmanson, and his direction, the way he goes one way and the other at such pace. He runs faster with the ball and without the ball. Got overexcited. See these moments here, and then he gets the penalty. But a couple of stats, though, Kel. He played for Arsenal under 18s at 13. Youngest player to score in UEFA under 19s competition as well. He come through the youth at I think he was 7 or 8 at the time. But to be doing this on the biggest stage is just incredible. And look at this. Premier. I'm just looking for my name there. I'm not.
You're not on the list.
Number 20, I think you are, Micah.
I didn't make the list.
Didn't burst onto the scene quite so much, did you?
Next time.
Next time. But is there a sort of other side for Arsenal in terms of the injuries that they've been suffering? Because it's another hamstring injury for Saka, it looks like. Odegaard's a shoulder injury, which is a contact injury, but it just seems as though those hamstrings
take the gloss
are
off a really good day for them. They were really impressive in terms of getting the goals, the confidence and the belief it will give them, but that will certainly put a damper on the day.
But at least now they've got the squad to cope with it. Previous season they haven't, but I think they have now.
Yeah, it's been a difficult time for Arsenal in terms of those injuries. Two newly promoted sides next, though, as Burnley welcomes Sunderland to...
Well, Mikel, not perfect, maybe, because of a couple of injuries, but was there a lot to be excited about tonight?
A lot, a really positive afternoon, I think, to start the season at home in the manner that we've done it. You could sense the energy immediately that it's gone up a level. And that's what we were looking for. I think the team played really well, really confident, really attacking. We didn't concede anything, and 5 goals and a clean sheet is a very good start.
Yeah, it was a good Saturday for us. I think we started off well, created a lot of chances, and we played good overall. I think we could have scored a few more goals in the first half. I had a good chance, but we kept going, and then we took our chances, and I think we were solid in the defense as well. I think they only had a chance from a corner, I think, and apart from that, I think we had a good game.
Certainly a memorable night for Arsenal. How did you feel about the performance? 5-0, the clean sheet, it was pretty much a perfect performance.
Yeah, it was, obviously you have to say Leeds. I didn't think Leeds offered too much, but it was it's always going to be how we're performing, how we're going to put them away, how we're going to take the chances. And, we started very much on the front foot, and, like you heard Victor Gyökeres say there, he missed that early chance, which should have probably made it a little bit more comfortable with the way it went. But I didn't think that Leeds pressed well enough. I didn't think they stopped us in many situations. Yes, they had the chance with strike, but nothing to really worry Arsenal. It was quite a comfortable win in the end, and a comfortable win because you want to see Gyökeres on the score sheet.
You can be a little bit happier,
you want to see him on there. And in the end, like I said at the start, and I'll always say, you have to win your home games. And I'm not worried how we win them. Obviously, if you can win them 5-0 every time you play at home, it's fantastic. But again, if a team comes and they're not prepared, that's what we'll do to them.
Well, let's talk through all the goals, shall we? And it started off with Jurrien Timber on the score sheet, Jimmy.
Yeah, and it's Arsenal's trademark, a corner, and well taken. They're very difficult to stop. The delivery is spot on. And Timber, I think one of the smaller guys, doesn't matter how big he is, puts his head against it, and it's a goal.
And then the goals kept coming, didn't they, Righty?
Yeah, great play from Zubimendi there, just intercepting, and then the ball from Timber, there's perfect weight, and Saka just has to really put his foot through it. You can see, the power that's gone before the keeper's even known it's there. And that's what you want, winning the ball and high up and punishing them instantly.
And we were waiting for Gyökeres to get on the score sheet.
Yeah, this one I like because, again, they're going to have to get used to, like I said to Jim, they're going to have to get used to how he plays. He was on the move already. Calafiori didn't even look. He just turned it round the corner and he was there. And, he's caught the goalkeeper out because the goalkeeper's obviously expecting maybe a cross shot, and he's come back on himself to the near post. And it's a great finish. It's a great finish.
Great finish, a very important moment for him. He's been waiting for it. Yeah. And again, here we are, trademark. And the ball comes at the right spot where Leeds really have to defend, and then Arsenal is just sharper, much sharper, and they score, and well deserved, well done. They know exactly what is going to happen. Obviously, they spent a lot of time, you know, with those with those situations and those moments. And you know, you can only clap and say well done, you know, for the delivery, because if the delivery is not there, if delivery is not spot on, you don't score them. So the delivery is majority of the time there, and then the movement. And yeah, they are very determined in putting them in the net.
They are indeed. And of course, there was one more goal scored, wasn't it? This was a penalty, but the man that won the penalty was the young 15-year-old Max Dowman, who came off the bench, and he made an impact.
Yeah, because he's very positive. You could see him here, very quick, got great left foot. And again, like I say, it was a penalty. You could see that he just catches him there, and then he's caught the other foot. But it was a good decision from the referee because he took a little bit of time, but he came to the right decision. And you know, Gyökeres is a bit of a penalty expert, if we're going to be honest.
And what will this have done for his confidence to have scored two goals in the first half?
Well, you can imagine, you know, the first chance he missed was a glaring chance. So for you to take the penalty, if you miss that penalty, then even the goal you scored would kind of be negated because you've missed a great chance and you've missed a penalty. If it was me, I'd probably be disappointed I didn't get a hat-trick today because I think the first chance would have been the easiest, and then you walk on with the match ball, then you get even more confidence leaving.
And this is what we love to see. Max Dowman is the second youngest player to have ever graced the Premier League in its history. Ethan Nwaneri is the youngest. That says a lot about the future and how bright it looks for Arsenal, right?
Yeah, it does. But again, it's you know, he's 15. They're both very young still. Ethan's 17 now, coming on to 18. And it's all about the management of them now. You know, as a 15-year-old, you're playing in Arsenal's first team, a team that's trying to win the league, trying to win the major honours at 15. So you have to make sure that you manage him properly because he's obviously a very, very talented player.
And he's got some great players around him to really learn from as well, and a wonderful manager at that. The only disappointing part from Arsenal's perspective was the injuries. We saw Odegaard go off and also Saka. Now, we know he was holding his hamstring, but luckily it wasn't the hamstring that took him out of the game for 3 months last season.
No, hopefully for Arsenal and for Saka himself, it is not a big one, and he doesn't have to sit out for a long time. It's not nice to see. He's so important for Arsenal. I don't think that he can be, again, 6 to 8 weeks out. I think he's too big of a miss. I know they have brought in other players to fill in here and there for him, but 8 weeks in a row to miss him, I think is too much. Odegaard, I don't think that is going to be a big one. So he will be back quite soon, I would think. But Saka, hopefully, you know, it's not as bad as it looks.
Well, let's talk about the player that's stolen the headlines all week, and that is Eberechi Eze. How excited are you about his arrival at Arsenal? I know the fans certainly are. You can see it there. But look at the smile on his face, Righty.
It's a homecoming for him. You know, it's the team he loves since he was a child. You know, I'm delighted that he's ended up signing for us, regardless of how it's come about. You know, I'm just pleased. You know, whether it was Kai Havertz's injury that sped it up or whatever, but Berta got in there and got it done, and he's a player that we need. He's a player that's unpredictable. He's a player that's full of quality. He's a player that scores goals. You know, he's the player that can change it for us.
And
he could change it for us.
We may well see him play against Liverpool next weekend. That would be an exciting prospect, especially for those Arsenal fans. OK, let's move on.